How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to go and attempt a contest on Black Badger Lake called Quarry Race, so you're basically doing like a lap of the quarry. I've finally been able to get my heavy wrecker back, which is nice. Also, I'm taking some loads, like their repair supplies, all sorts. Just to let you know quickly, once I was able to turn the heavy wrecker mod back on, when I scroll right to the bottom of my list of cars in the garage, it was at the bottom, so I'm just saying for people that think they like lost it and the money that goes with it when it got deleted, when it got removed from the mod list a while ago. Yeah, just make sure, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you might still have yours there. It's happened to me before, and yeah, this is the one I built last time, like it was orange and double wheels and all the rest of it. Yeah, I just set up like a road train to take there. I left this bit in for a few reasons. Just to mention as well that heading to the quarry, in the end, I was like, I may as well set off from Greenwoods River instead of Black Badger Lake, because there's only roads really heading to like the bottom corner of the map. And then right now it's like, oh no, my PS4 is ever going to blow up. Now's going to be the time when I try and take a mod with 4 loaves, towing a mod with a loaf, towing a trailer with a Loadstar and its own trailer through the gateway. So looking around like, well, oh no, hang on, the trailer is tipped, but all my loaves are still on the heavy wrecker. The A's of Iceberg as well, that appears to be set up right, so I was thinking, oh, right, got away pretty lightly with this one. Reverse out, stop them being invisible ghosts. Oh no. Loadstar, I don't know what happens, like Cloverfield Paradox or something. Like Jeff Goldblum's The Fly. Starts screaming, kill me in a minute. Yeah, I was looking at it, I was like, well, I mean, if you don't mind, I don't mind. I'll just tow you there like that. I ain't got time to disconnect you. Try and rip a fuel trailer out from it. So yeah, I just set off with it hanging on the side like that. Long story short, eventually on the way it fell out anyway, and then for some reason I loaded it onto the ramped flatbed. I even got rid of the trailer in the end because I refueled everything, packed it onto the ramped flatbed, and then when I started driving forward again, it immediately fell off. I really don't know why, but so yeah, I just kind of dropped all the trailers. So this is the map, this is the route I've drawn. You can see there's like point A, B, C, D and E. In theory it looks like it wants you to go looping around the road, just going down into the quarry, but personally, like the map I drew was just the shortest route possible that I think is better. So there's like the list thing. It's basically 2.5. If you can get under 2.5 minutes, it's a gold. So we'll go for a little drive of this one just to show you kind of the general course. Yeah, under 2.5 is gold. I think, was it under 3 or 3:30 was silver, and then over 3:30 was bronze. So when you get that point, I cut down this bit because yeah, instead of like looping around the road all the way. And to be fair, the heavy wrecker definitely dropped the hammer, so the only thing is with the heavy wrecker though, as you'll see, is like it gets a lot of damage while it's doing this course. So if you want to set like a record time, this is definitely a pretty good one to take. If you for some reason wanted to grind the mission a few times or whatever, or probably more than a few, but you know what I mean. Yeah, then, well, again, that's half the reason I brought all those loaves that were stacked on the back. Basically, they're like, you know, recoverable maintenance trailers with winches. So that's why I brought them all along. Obviously, the goddamn horse of vehicles coming with us. This technically counts as the loafs go at the minute. He's just got the right shoes on. Heavy wrecker well is the latest thing. Yeah, and then again, you can see with the second checkpoint, sorry, you can kind of swerve off and go down that hill even more. Grab the 3rd checkpoint, cut past where you can make packaged sand to get the 4th checkpoint, and then yeah, climbing up here. It's a bit awkward there. I know I'm already damaged, but this, yeah, it's slippier than you think. That's what she said. Yeah, thankfully, well, I assume they've put this tree there, like, knowing that this is pretty slippery. And what have I got? Yeah, the dual quasi muds or whatever, so not too sure how much different chain did make, but I tend to find chain do bite in pretty well in situations like that. And yeah, it got 1 minute 46, so not bad, still well within like 2.5 minutes, so that was gold. Next up, I was taking the A's of Iceberg. I did have a go first when there was a loaf in the back of this as well. Again, I sort of brought it for the roof rack and stuff as well, but yeah, there was one in, but when I flew down here, I had a bad landing and I rolled. And then the loaf rescued this, and then yeah, so I went back to the start and had another go. I could have got the loaf back into the sideboard, but this is, for the journey I'm doing in that, I already thought this would be a bit tippy anyway, so Probably won't make it any more difficult than it needs to be. Yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, this thing still motors along pretty nicely, and it's got the big tyres, so it's sort of... Even though it's got like a slightly, say, lower ratioed gearbox than the high range and that, yeah, the fact that it has got massive tyres kind of gears it back up a little bit as well. So yeah, I was assuming this should be pretty decently quick. Another nice thing as well, you can see already, it's not absolutely smashing itself to pieces. I believe it does take a little hit here and there, but nothing special. So again, this is another one that you could do repeated runs and, yeah, not be too bad. Like, when I was testing them all tonight, it was mainly the heavy wrecker that just absolutely zapped nearly everybody's, like, you know, roof racks and repair points and everything. And I could have brought a repair trailer thing, but then I was towing the trailer on the Iceberg to bring the Loadstar as well. So like I said, that's why, yeah, I just brought a load of loads, because between them they had like 1,500 repair points, a load of fuel, a load of spare tyres and all that, which this sort of map I was and race and everything, I was assuming I could end up blowing a few tyres. See, again, even this is wheel spinning a bit there. If you can hit it right and get a good run up, you just kind of, you do maintain enough speed to get up there, but once you get slowed down, it's a lot of them were like wheel spinning and struggling up there. So yeah, the Iceberg did it in what was it, 1:57 I believe it is. So yeah, again, pretty decent time, under 2 minutes. I still think I could shave a little bit more off, but I still think that was a pretty decent run. So next up is the Loadstar. I will say though, on this playthrough, because it's my second playthrough, I've not got the race suspension, so it's also on the smaller tyres at the minute, but I know generally speaking it's a smaller vehicle. It's pretty much the smallest thing I think you can have the high range in. There is the Taz and, well, say the Taz is probably pretty small as well, but it's a little bit tippy and bouncy. This thing overall, as I know it can get its foot down a bit. And yeah, unlike that mission I did the other day, the cliffhanger one or whatever, this is like, for the most part, there's not a ridiculous amount of rocks in the way. This thing, I have to say, particularly with like no raised suspension and the smaller tyres, it gets stuck on rocks pretty easily. It beaches itself quite easily, so I was kind of trying to avoid them best as I can. But yeah, for a Scout, it's got the high range sort of set of gearboxes, so that's what I've got in there. It kept digging its bumper into there, which that's why you could see. That's why I'm sort of looping around this way instead. Originally I was sort of climbing up the rocks and then looping around the other way, but yeah, this thing just really was not like climbing up there. And again, taking some hits, kind of, it wasn't really too bad on draining the all the repair points and everything. A little bit of an arse ender there. When I first started racing this, the first time I forgot to activate the contest. The next time I did it, I missed that one, the D, in the Quarry, so by the time I got up here, I was like, oh, why is it not coming up with a trophy? And then realised, yeah, I'd missed it. I was doing all kinds of just awkward mistakes. It took a lot longer to get the footage for than it would appear. See, this thing, because I kept the momentum up there, just stuck it in high so it didn't try and blip down the gears or anything. And yeah, but then these rocks just at the end absolutely kind of nicked me time back. I think this was 1:54, so it did actually beat the Azov by 3 seconds. Basically, these are now the quickest times I was able to get with like the Iceberg, then the Loadstar, of course. I'm sending in the horse, I mean, did you expect anything else? So, I did bring a horse without a roof rack, so it does actually go a bit faster. I mean, look at him go. He's a goddamn racehorse. This corner can be, if you hit it right, you just, yeah, clip it. It makes a lot of trucks sort of bounce and understeer past that a bit. But as I said before, with the Loaf, it's not rapid, but it's pretty consistent, so yeah, I was curious myself, like, to see what it can do. The only other thing I was looking as well, I was considering bringing a Taiga, but again, on this playthrough, I've got the Taiga, but I've not got the top engine. I need to go, I think it's in Zimnigor somewhere to get that engine. But to be honest, I wasn't that bothered because I ended up bringing the heavy wrecker, which I know for a fact is going to basically be the quickest, because even I did that container delivery contest on Drowned Lands for hundreds of goes with the Taiga, and then on like my first attempt with a heavy wrecker I absolutely obliterated its time, so the heavy wrecker is definitely faster than the Taiga. So again, Loaf's doing pretty well. So I'd love to try this thing with, yeah. In fact, that'd be something like, if it gets modded, it'd be a high range gearbox would be pretty nice to try in this. At least have the option there. Probably just have all the options, so then you could always go back to these ones. But yeah, a high range would be interesting. The gearboxes are a little bit meh in the scout vehicles. And I still prefer the freeway over the SnowRunner box, but yeah, they're a little bit iffy sometimes with getting the gears and everything. Sometimes up here you best just bang it in high. I mean, look at him, he flies up there like a beast. And here as well, yeah, you just got to be careful of those rocks. Clip that at the wrong moment and it'll kind of flick you over. See another goddamn horse. Ringside seats to all the action. And again, just about everything wheel spins up here, except of course a goddamn horse of a vehicle, because he knows what he's doing. Clearly he's wearing the right shoes as well. And rocks, a little, maybe knocked a second or two off, but not as bad as it did for the Loadstar. Yeah, 223, so I mean we got a gold. We banged it in, that's what she said. And the good news is, it took practically no damage. It took a few hits on the rocks right at the end. But yeah, you could repeatably do that competition with the Loaf, like, and you won't need much fuel. Yeah, repairs, like, you'll get 20-30 goes out of it before. I'm not saying you'd want or whatever, I certainly do, but I'm just saying the Loaf, yeah, did pretty well there. So then, yeah, then there's this, which, believe it or not, by the looks of it, was my fastest run in this, which it looked like, obviously I could probably shave a second or two off with like that bit there, so there is times we had, but in every attempt this was the quickest time, and like I said, it smashed itself to pieces so much each time that yeah, you'd have to bring a fleet of repair trailers really just to keep fixing this thing back up every time. But for that one-off like record setting time, this is I can't really think of much else off the top of my head. I mean, there is other mods and that, there's a lot of scouts, but maybe the Titanius Maximus. That'd probably be an interesting one to try. But because this is a truck, not a scout, it's got bigger wheels than a lot of scouts, so again, it's almost like it's geared itself up. Thankfully it stayed in high for those two, which again, I think that's why this was probably the quickest time, because those hills could be a bit awkward if you hit it wrong, and then lastly this, it actually powered its way, it didn't start wheel spinning or anything. Loaf was hanging off dear life like a rodeo bull. Yeah, what was it 126 I believe I got, so that's pretty decent. It was over a minute under the time needed to get a gold, and yeah, 4.5 grand or just over, so not too bad. This is just quickly, yeah, this was the dodgy bounce. The video's done now. That was when I sort of, yeah, had an awkward bounce on the front left, and it flipped, but as you can see, goddamn horse of a vehicle. He's already on his way. He's straight into action. And then long story short, I started towing it to flip it kind of that way, but it started its own engine, drove forward and kind of pendulumed off the winch, started heading down this hill, so I went that way and did it. But again, goddamn beast, saves the day every time. Yeah, that's about it for today though. Hope you've enjoyed, hope that helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members, get yourself a loaf, and I'll be back soon.